It's working. It's working. I got it to work. All right. Hey. All right. Better late than never. I finally got my live stream up. This is the first time doing this. So I'm going to, there were some technical difficulties. I'm working on everything here, but welcome. I'm going to let this roll for a second, see if any people respond and get on the live stream. Hang on, be right back. It's on YouTube. All right. All right, who's on? Make sure that if you're on, please, say hello in the chat. Live streaming, I don't want it just to be one way. I'd love to be in the discussion with you guys. So feel free to comment. We'll give it a minute or two here, because I know how it is that I go live and then the notification goes out on YouTube, and then it takes a while for people to respond. Suzanne, thank you very much for being on the live stream. Suzanne is one of she is one of my stalwart supporters on this channel, and very interesting person, and I'm glad you're here, Suzanne. And you can on your feed there, you can hit the share button to let your friends know that this live stream is occurring, so we can talk about what's going on. I'm gonna give it a little bit more to make sure that so that other people can come in on the live stream and participate, so I don't repeat myself, or other people don't miss out on some cool stuff. I will say this. So here we are on the Lunchtime live stream, and this is something I'm planning on doing on a somewhat regular basis. So these will not be high production value videos. These are just raw and real, and we're going to talk about what's going on in a more current format. As you can see behind me, I've got the picture of the Democratic debates, night 1. So this is the second debate that just happened last night, and all the participants behind me, including Bernie and Elizabeth, right? And Pete Buttigieg, and then a whole host of other people that I don't know, not ready for prime time. It would be my estimation. So, let me know. Put in a comment. Let me know if you did watch the debate last night, or if this is all brand new news to you. I watched it last night. I did watch it last night. I watched the whole darn thing. I was tweeting on it while it was going on. My Twitter handle is just my personal Twitter handle is at NMSteveC. You can follow me over there at NMSteveC on Twitter Twitter, I think, is good for that kind of a thing, kind of live commenting while things are going on. There are other people doing it as well. And you get, I think you get some good takes, or you just find out what other people are thinking at the same time. All right, one more minute, and I'm going to get on it. I'm excited though. This is neat. I've never done a live stream before. It's been in my plans. It's been in my works, but I was trying to figure out how to do it. And as you see by my 5-minute delay in getting in on time, I was having some technical difficulties. And I swear, like computers, I don't get it. I swear I set everything up right and it wasn't working, and then I did like the same thing I did before and it started working. That's computers, that's technology for you. Turn it off, turn it on, make it work. But you know, in trying to figure out live streaming, it's not just about, oh hey, I'm just going to do a live stream, but I was trying to figure out when would be the best time to do a live stream. And the reason why I chose this time is not as many people live stream right at the lunch hour. There's a lot of people that do it like in the late afternoon. Some of the people I like do it then. There's some that do it early in the morning. Others do it in the evening time, like when you're home. And I don't really want to compete with all of that. You'll always be able to get the videos from my live streams later on to digest whenever you want. But if you want to watch it live, raw, and also interact with me on this platform, then you do it live. And I want to hear from you, and I want to hear your comments and everything else. All right, the minute's up. I'm going to get going here. So last night was round 2 of the Democratic debates, part 1, right? Because we have 20 candidates. And so they have 10 at a time that they're going to show. The next set of 10 are going to happen actually tonight, Wednesday, on CNN at 6:30 Mountain Time, our time here in Albuquerque and Denver. And so I want to let you know about my experience with it. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't have a cable or DirecTV subscription. I cut that cord a long time ago. Besides, watching CNN News is excruciating, and MSNBC is like being a participant in A Clockwork Orange. So I don't lose anything for the most part, not being connected to them. But it is CNN that's carrying the debates, and so I was a bit at a loss as how I was going to watch this. Luckily. And this is information I want to pass on to you. If you've cut the cord, if you're not subscribed to something that has CNN, here's how you can watch it. There's something called CNN Go. And I first found it on my laptop when I went to CNN's website. They have CNN Go, which is kind of like a live, what we're doing right now kind of thing. And I also found a CNN Go app for my Android phone, and there's one for iPhone as well. And what was nice is usually CNN restricts its content to people who only have a cable subscription. But I think because the Democratic debates was such a public thing and they wanted as many eyeballs as possible on it, they allowed CNN Go access so I could watch the entire debate. I watched it, on my laptop and caught everything. Just like I would have if I had had a cable subscription. But I don't have to pay that cable subscription, and I'm so happy. Because Comcast, DirecTV, no thank you. Mostly a waste of my money if I do that. All right, so it started, and we start with the opening statements. And for the most part, the opening statements, we've heard them before, yada, yada, yada. It's pretty standard. Although I have to tell you, the first one up to bat was John Delaney, millionaire John Delaney. And this guy right there. And he started talking, and I just wanted to smash my computer. I think there's nobody more irritating and anger-inspiring and large D Democratic Party than John Delaney. The man is a healthcare insurance salesman, basically, and he proved it over and over and over last night. He's pretty much everything in a candidate I don't want. He is, and I didn't like him to begin with. Like when I watched the first debate, the second debate has made me loathe him. So much so that I've said, if somehow, some way, this man becomes the nominee for the presidency on the Democratic Party's ticket, and I even include VP, that will be the end of me voting for Democrats for any office. And I don't care who they are, even if they're my best friend. I will be 5 times overdone. If the Democratic Party voters don't categorically reject John Delaney, then there's nothing can be done. So let's go through the list here. We have Marianne. I'm going to go from the left side of the screen over to the right. So we got Marianne Williamson, Tim Ryan, Amy Klobuchar, Buttigieg, Bernie. We got Elizabeth Warren here. We've got Beto State, U.S. Senator Beto O'Rourke from Texas, John Hickenlooper, John Delaney, and a new entry, Steve Bullock, Governor of Montana, billionaire. Hey, just what we need. The party of the people. The party of the people. That's what we need. We need another billionaire in the race. Because only the billionaires can lead us, apparently. And that's what the DNC thinks. Because there's a name that's not here of the 20, and that's Mike Gravel, former U.S. Senator from Alaska, and he actually made enough qualifying contributions from donors to make the second debate stage, but the DNC kept him off. So, and if you think Tulsi Gabbard's anti-war, Mike Gravel's even more anti-war. He is the most peace candidate of all of them, and so the effort to squelch him is at its apex. The night was interesting, and it was clear that CNN had an agenda. And I think that there is an agenda either whether it's the Democratic Party, because they set who gets on the stage together, right? So I think it was half them, and then half CNN. But putting Bernie and Elizabeth Warren together, front and center, right next to each other, was not an accident. Because as you listen to the questions all night long, when it went to Bernie or to Elizabeth, and especially to Bernie, it was like, okay, Bernie, please tell me why it seems like you suck on many issues. You sound like Donald Trump. And then when they were asking other candidates questions, it's like, Bernie said this and you said it was stupid. Tell me why. And there was a whole lot of that the whole evening long. And there was some of that against Elizabeth Warren as well. And so the entire night had this ambiance of, we're going to get the two more left candidates here on the stage, and we're going to just pound the hell out of them. And I think they were half hoping that Bernie and Elizabeth Warren would also snipe at each other and kind of cut each other down. But I think they were too wise for that. And so the whole night, Bernie and Elizabeth, who could have been like this, ended up going like this. They went back to back, and they just started punching on each side of the debate stage, back at him. And they were ready. Both candidates were ready for the attacks that were coming their way. And so you get people like John Hickenlooper, John Delaney, and Steve Bullock, the the rich folks, and they came after, especially Bernie, a lot, or saying that all this free stuff is pie in the sky, it's dreams, and they were rebuffed over and over and over again. Bernie Sanders was very strong. He had the gloves off, and in fact, a couple days ago, he took the gloves off. He took the gloves off on MSNBC in an interview, and also with the Washington Post in a live interview on stage. He basically is not putting up with these other entities giving half quotes of his stuff or constantly attacking him. He's pushing back, and he pushed back against Tim Ryan, who came after him about a subject that Tim Ryan said that Bernie was incorrect, and Bernie's like, look, I wrote the damn bill. I know what's in it. And that was the end of Tim Ryan. For a second time now, he has just completely ran right into a buzzsaw and destroyed himself. First against Tulsi Gabbard, now against Bernie Sanders. That was one of Bernie's big quotes of the night. Actually, his other one is when they were talking about healthcare lobbies and oil and the banks and how much they control the whole process. In fact, they not only buy politicians in Washington, but tonight on this very debate on CNN, there will be commercials from the healthcare industry and the banks. And it's interesting because he says that in he almost isn't finished with the last syllable of banks. And Jake Tapper's like, thank you, Bernie, thank you. Tweet, don't talk about our advertisers. But guess what? There actually was a commercial for the health insurance companies and the banks on CNN, and Bernie was making his point that, I'm up here talking, but I also know that I'm in the lion's den. The people the people are my stage. I have to be here because of all these TV cameras, but I don't for a second think that CNN is a friendly venue or a friendly institution. And it was fantastic. Elizabeth Warren, she delivered a line straight at John Delaney. John Delaney, who absolutely insists that we cannot have Medicare for all. It would destroy our entire country. It'll close every hospital. As, by the way, hospitals are already closing under the system we have now, especially in rural areas. He lies about the financial impacts of Medicare for all and doesn't care. And like I said, I think he's paid by the health insurance companies to be up on this stage. But he went off on another one of these rambles like that. And Elizabeth Warren basically came back at him and said, I don't understand how candidates can run for presidency and stand up here and face the people and tell them what they are not going to do or what they can achieve. And that got a lot of applause. And rightfully so. It was just a pow. And in fact, even Delaney, with his big, intense robot eyes, was kind of like, after that line was said. He does have that kind of weird, this bizarre, like, it almost looks like something from the Terminator. The eyes, the glowing red eyes, and the mouth slightly open. That was very bizarre. I didn't notice that as much in the first debate. He got a lot more time actually in this debate, and there's a lot of speculation about why that might be. Amy Klobuchar, to me, is like a sleeping pill. I can't even tell you a lot about what she says. She starts to talk, and my eyes just glaze over. There's what I would tell you is I think she's trying to be somewhat of a conglomeration of everybody. I'm going to be kind of progressive, but kind of conservative. I'm not as far out as as Delaney. I'm not as far out as Sanders. I'm not as interesting. I'm not as inspiring. She's not a lot of bad things, and she's not a lot of good things. She's just these definition of meh. I really, honestly, there was very little that I could absorb from what she said. Marianne Williamson had another good line. She had several, but the one that really struck home with me and actually hit home with the audience in Detroit was when she brought up the Flint water crisis. And she said, I grew up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit, but it's a white suburb of Detroit. And she says, I know for a fact that what's going on in Flint would never occur in Grosse Pointe. It wouldn't happen like this. It wouldn't last that long. And we all know why that is. And it's an issue that we're willing to do this to people of color. And until we're willing to admit that this is what's going on in our country, we're not going to fix anything. And so she just out and out said it boldly. And I was so glad. No other candidate touched that remark with a 10-foot pole. And I think possibly it's for two reasons. She just said it. She said it strong. She was real, and there was you couldn't add to that without pandering. So she got a good mark for that. Pete Buttigieg, well, he was okay. Again, to me he was similar to Klobuchar in that he talks and he kind of makes some sense, but he does not really. He doesn't. There's nothing much to pay attention to from him that I see, or there's nothing that he brings that others don't. There was an interesting moment, and part of the got you thing. CNN asked Pete Buttigieg about him being 38, being the youngest one running for office, and it was basically a question on the age issue. Do you think that that age counts? Should it be a factor? And Buttigieg actually, and I think that was a swipe to maybe try to swipe at Bernie, but he didn't really take the bait on that too much. That he said it's more about the ideas and less about the age, I commend him for that. There was a direct question asked to Bernie Sanders from the panel that basically said that Trump campaigning said he wanted to get out of all these wars, and Bernie Sanders said that he's been saying the same thing, that he wants to get out of a lot of these wars. And it's like, so I guess you and Trump are the same, or yeah, aren't you? They were trying to tie Bernie Sanders and Trump together. And Bernie Sanders looked him right in the eye and said, well, there is one difference. The difference is that President Trump is a pathological liar. And he said one or two more sentences, but that was pretty much it right there. Right then and there, that's it. And that's the truth of a lot of this stuff. Or if Trump isn't a pathological liar, he's just very poor at getting what he said done. But I think the pathological liar is the most truthful thing that was said. So, yeah, Suzanne, I see your comment there. I think you're absolutely right. That a lot of folks looking to sell their upcoming books, and I would say that with the exception of maybe four of the people on that stage, Buttigieg, Warren, Sanders, I think I might have to keep it to 3. The rest of them at best are going to be selling books. Beto O'Rourke. Beto is growing in irrelevance. He's a platitude machine. And I say he creates more word salads than any of the others. At least Delaney is able to stand up and look the American working class in the face and say, hey, screw you. All right? Just screw you. And Beto knows he can't say that, but he won't go where Warren and Sanders will go, and he doesn't have much else to say. His biggest deal is, I'm from Texas, I'm kind of a winner, and I can win Texas for us, which will help us win the presidency. And here's maybe one of the last points I'm going to make on this. So many of them talked about, actually, Warren and Sanders did not talk about this, and I don't think Marianne Williamson did either, but she's kind of on a different level. But the other 7 repeatedly talked about why I'm the one who can beat Trump, and you need me to beat Trump. You know, you have to elect me, or if you go with one of those other, commie pinko liberal freaks, we're gonna lose the election, and we're not gonna beat Donald Trump. 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 And this is a mantra that's been going out there. It's a very dangerous mantra, because if you watch the polling, at least for right now, about this, what I would call the top 4 or 5 tier A candidates out of these 20, every single one of them is polling ahead of Donald Trump. They're all close races. I mean, the margin of error could make it go either way, but actually the raw number is the Democratic candidates are ahead of Trump. So I call this a non-issue. They're trying to scare you about stuff you shouldn't be scared about. I think the default is that the Democrats should win if they don't screw it up like they did in 2016. So we have a roadmap of how to lose. Okay? Rig the primaries. Put in a centrist Democrat who is not for the people, who doesn't campaign very much, who's uninspiring, who can't draw crowds, who raises tons of corporate money, and refuses and is only passionate when talking about things that will never, ever come to pass. Like Medicare for All. And now here we are, nearly 4 years later, it's on the lips of tons of politicians. A vote on a $15 minimum wage occurred and passed in the U.S. House of Representatives when Hillary Clinton was saying that can't be done. So we have a roadmap of how the Democrats have a roadmap of how to lose a national election. And honestly, only a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren is outside of that model. Marianne Williamson maybe, but I don't think she quite has the chops to get us to the finish line. Marianne Williamson is really interesting, and I like her in the debates because she brings a different perspective. She's not been a politician all her life, and she's trying to get at the root core of a lot of our problems in this country. And part of it's legislative, but part of it's just the way that we think about things. You know, how we collectively think about our problems and our solutions. So I really appreciate her input on the debate, and you should listen to her if you wrestle with how to approach dealing with some of these problems, or what your mindset about it is or should be. I'm very grateful. So anyway, that's my take on the night. I'm gonna do this tomorrow at noon, or actually, I'm gonna try to do it about 11:30. My intention on the lunchtime live streams is to do it just slightly before the noon hour and get it done. But I really appreciate the audience for coming for this first one. I'm going to keep doing these over time. Maybe in the coming weeks, I'll get a regular schedule. I don't know yet. The one thing I will tell you is that I'm slating 11:30 a.m. for being my time to do the live streaming. So thank you very much once again for tuning in with the Duopoly Report. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, click the subscribe button. And click the little notification bell that comes next to it. And now, when you click the bell, it gives you 3 options about how to be notified. Say all. Say everything. They have this personalized thing, but I think it's a way to restrict the amount of notifications you get. Don't fall for it. Click all. All right, I'm looking at the comments here. I think we're good on the comments. So, y'all have a good day. I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow at 11:30. Goodbye.